So summer is here, and typically summer is like the season for travel, right? Kids are out of school, the weather is nice, places are like blooming and booming with things to do. A lot of travel is happening this summer. I personally have a trip that I'm planning for right now. Because I've been planning for this trip, the internet has figured it out, okay? You know that little checkbox you have to check on every blog you go to, on Pinterest, on every site you go to that you'll accept or decline their cookies? They're tracking me, guys, and they know I'm going on a trip. So I've been getting so many ads for things that I should buy for my trip. Of course, I want to make a video about things you don't fucking need to buy, because we don't need to buy all of these things. One of my biggest motivators and factors and things I like to talk about around sustainability is just buying less shit. I say it all the time. It's a term I call eco-minimalism, basically buying as little as you can and new to have the smallest impact on the planet as we can when it comes to our buying choices. I decided I'd even put this in my Instagram bio. It's probably thrifted, because literally when you look at this screen, even the plants, yep, pretty much everything you're seeing in this frame was secondhand. Because every single thing we buy has an impact on the planet before it makes it to us. As a matter of fact, when we look at the entire environmental footprint or impact of any given thing, like 80% of it comes before it even makes it to you, not considering the disposal is like the smallest part afterwards. And so buying less creates less of a demand for all of that destruction before it makes it to us to be happening. So buying less is the most sustainable thing you can do, hence what I'm going to tell you not to be buying this summer. Before we jump into this, I just want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video without interfering with the things that we're going to be talking about. So if you ever need an online store, website, or even if you just need a domain, make sure you do it with Squarespace. There's a link at the top of the description to get you a little discount. So the first thing is really the biggest thing, and it's kind of like got a bunch of categories under it, but it's trends. Oh, I could shake. It frustrates me so much. This is what I've been seeing all over Pinterest. These are the things that are following me around TikTok. These are the things that you see people tell you you need and you just simply don't. It's the different colors that trend every year, the different patterns that trend every year, the things that are only in season for like 3 months and then no one wants to wear them anymore.
I'm so sick of it.
Literally certain colors, patterns, styles of shirt, styles of swimsuit, styles of whatever is trendy for this summer and then not next summer. And do you know what is literally happening? We're literally mass producing shitty, cheap quality things that no one is going to want in 6 months. And all the destruction that happened before that product made it to you is just happening tenfold because you're gonna rebuy that same shit next year. It's insane the amount of waste that specifically fast fashion brands create because of micro trends and whatever's trendy this summer. So one of the most sustainable things you can do when it comes to this, and specifically in the summer, is not to buy into trends. To really think through every purchase you make and ask yourself if you're buying it because you've started to see it on all the Instagram girlies, or if it's something that you're actually going to like this same time next year. I actually have a whole series of questions I ask myself before I buy anything, but one of the best questions that's helped me not buy things recently is, would I have worn this 5 years ago? And will I wear it 5 years from now? And a really interesting conversation I actually had about this recently when I was at the hair salon getting my luscious locks done. Point being, everybody in the salon had really cool hair, right? I understand that a lot of people express themselves through like the color of their hair and they style it differently, and like more power to you if you've decided that is something that is really valuable to you. It's obviously not to me. The hair is basic. But I was talking to the girl who was rinsing out my hair, and she was talking to me about what's trending right now in hairstyles. But she was telling me that basically right now what's really trendy is like really bright, different colored money pieces. That's like the front piece of your hair. They call it the money piece. I'm telling you this for a reason, trust me. And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen people on the internet I follow do that, but like I don't think I like it. And I was telling her that most times when something is trendy, I don't like it when it comes out. And tell me if you've had the same experience, right? Certain things that become trendy at first, a lot of our reactions is, ugh, no, I don't like that. But then after I see it for months and months and months on people, I start to hate it less and less. And then by the time something is no longer trendy, I'm kind of like, okay, I like that. So I tell her that. I say basically, normally when things come into trend, I don't like them. And then by the time they're not cool anymore, I do. And she literally said to me, yeah, I'm like that too. So now when I see things that are trendy, even if I don't like them, I try to get ahead of it and do it anyway.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Why? I know for a fact so many people do things and buy things because it's trendy, even if it's not something that they truly like. And I think a lot of people have trouble figuring out what they truly like, what they think looks best on them, what they actually are going to like long term, who they actually are, and how they really want to express themselves. And people are just like basically a jellyfish in the ocean, going with the flow of whatever's trendy and buying all this shit. So a subcategory to that, but also something pretty specific, is sunglasses. Have you guys noticed that different shapes of sunglasses are trending? The problem is things are trending today by the season, no longer by the decade. We're talking sometimes literally by like week to week. So not buying glasses that have a super like trendy shape, and instead just getting something that like complements your face shape. I've had these Pila glasses for at least 3 or 4 summers now, and there's nothing super stand out about this shape, right? Like, it's pretty timeless. Tell me this isn't a timeless shape. I mean, I've been wearing them for years, so they're timeless to me. Pila does make sunglasses, and they do make some that I would say are trendy-ish. Some of their styles are, and they use sustainable materials to make them, so I definitely always recommend checking out Pila. They have a separate company now called Sway, which is their sunglasses. I actually have a pair right over here. I'll go grab them for you. The sunglasses I wear was actually when they were still just making them as Pila out of a sustainable material, but now they have the separate company called Sway, which these are. But I think obviously supporting sustainable brands that you're going to actually use the thing you buy long term is the most sustainable option. Like, it should be just so obvious. They're a B certified corporation, they're carbon neutral, they use sustainable materials in their stuff, and they make really quality materials. Like my phone case, best phone cases I've ever had. Same thing with the sunglasses that I use. So I'll leave them linked below if you are looking for a sustainable option to eyewear that are going to last you long term and that you're not gonna have to keep buying and that you're gonna move away from the trends. Now, we can't talk about summer without talking about swimsuits, and the same thing with the way clothing trends for summer, swimsuits do too. But I think the problem with swimsuits, even more than what's trendy, is that they're so easy to get really cheap. I find that personally, once I find a swimsuit that I like, I'll wear the same one for the next like 4 years. Recently, I really don't even wear that many swimsuits. I have like serious sun protection methods, so swimsuit is like, I'll put it on, but then I'm gonna put some stuff right on top of it. But like swimsuits you can buy at regular retailers, like we're talking Target, Walmart, the mall, pretty much all of those are just really low quality, and they're so cheap that there's absolutely no way that the people who made those were paid a living wage. It's literally impossible to buy a $25 swimsuit and for the person who made that to have been paid a living wage. It's not possible. And it's one thing if those $25 swimsuits are what you can afford and you buy one and it's what you wear for the next few years because you bought something that was timeless. That's a whole different conversation than the people who are doing fast fashion swimsuit hauls and the people who buy new ones every single year, and not just one, but like dozens of them. If you have the privilege to be able to support a sustainable brand, I highly recommend doing that, or looking for swimsuits at least at the bare minimum, y'all, made from recycled plastic. Personally, I got another rash guard this year because I've been using the same one from Stream to Seas, which is a great company to check out. I'll link them below. I've been using that one for years, and I just wanted to get another one for my upcoming trip, like I said, and I found one that was actually really, really cute and made from recycled materials. And I think a lot of people think that you can't find swimsuits secondhand, but you certainly can, because I got one this year from ThredUp and I got another one from Poshmark. The problem with fast fashion is not the people who depend on it and who buy a few things a year. It's the way we're using fast fashion right now, where people who don't need new clothes are buying shit tons of it and absolutely destroying the planet. So if you want to buy one this year that you think you're going to like for the next 5 years, that is a sustainable choice, and I'm perfectly happy that you do that. But don't buy into this idea that you need like 6 different swimsuits for the next like 3 trips you go on, okay? Oh, also, I wanted to mention in this section of the video, I learned, again, on TikTok, I learned so many cool things on TikTok. I learned about where the origin of a bikini came from, like the name of a bikini, where that came from, and like the word bombshell. It all came during the wartime era, and it's a really, really great TikTok about the history of it. Another really clear example, like I've been talking about, of environmental racism. I'm gonna link the creator who made that below, and you should go check it out. It was really, really good. Okay, thong flip-flops. People are still buying these. Like, I cannot believe people are still buying these. When has a pair of thong flip-flops literally ever lasted someone more than a summer? I'll wait. They're made so cheaply and so shitty, you guys. Please don't buy them. If you're gonna buy anything, buy slides, because they'll last a lot longer than those little thong flip-flops. They're just really wasteful. It's so funny too to think back to when I was like, I don't know, I guess maybe a senior in high school, and I bought like every color flip-flop from Old Navy so that I could wear it with all of my outfits. So now I have this brand, I've talked about them before, called Okabashi. They're really, really sustainable, high quality sandals made from recycled materials, and they have a recycling program to actually recycle their shoes. But honestly, the quality is what gets me, is that they've lasted me like 2 or 3 summers already. And the way that they're constructed is in a way that they're not just going to come apart. Choose a neutral color and use them all summer. That's the most sustainable thing to do. You can also obviously opt for secondhand shoes, like the Chacos that I'm going to be taking on my trip. Chacos are super, super high quality, but they're also super expensive as a result, so I bought mine secondhand. Something else I find so interesting is how few people realize how people lived just like a couple generations ago without single-use products. So I talked recently about how Kleenex is not sustainable because it's a single-use product, and also it's inferior to the products that are reusable. And I got so many comments when I said that, asking what the alternative to single-use Kleenex wipes are. And it just blows my mind, because before we had single-use items, not that long ago, people just used the reusable version of that, aka any type of fabric that you can get. Like, I cut up old shirts and turn them into Kleenexes. There are reusable options out there, like Final, I think it's called Final Wipe, Last Wipe, something like that. There are purposeful reusable alternatives for those things, but literally just like any soft fabric. I think the same thing when people ask me, well, what do you do in the summer when you need bottles of water? You don't need bottles of water. How do you think people just a couple generations ago went outside a lot more than us? By the way, they spent a lot more time outside than we do in today's culture. How do you think they had water when they went outside? They didn't have single-use plastic bottles. I keep my water in here. I put ice in it because I want my water to be cold. Don't come for me. I already talked about that recently. But I keep my water in here, and then I keep this big guy full of water, and I refill it during the day as needed. I bought this from a thrift store, and I've had this for God only knows how long. But we certainly don't need to be buying single-use plastic bottles to go outside and enjoy nature, especially because they get littered so often. I went to the river last weekend and found so many different, not just water bottles, but different types of alcohol cans. I even found a glass Heineken bottle. It's so frustrating. But you don't need to buy plastic bottles of water this summer. Like, I feel like that's pretty obvious. Okay, my American is about to show, but things you should not buy during the summer is burgers and hot dogs. Those are the 2 most popular things, like when you're hanging out with friends outside, when you're grilling for the summer, people are gonna be making burgers and hot dogs. And as someone who cares about the planet, those are really unsustainable forms of protein. Stay away from beef at all costs. I haven't eaten beef in over 10 years, which is crazy. Because it's awful for the planet, it's also awful for you. Just avoid it. Same thing with hot dogs. There are plant-based alternatives, and you guys, I went to the tiniest grocery store in the tiniest town the other day, and even they had plant-based burgers. Much better for the planet, much better for you, and also just doesn't smell disgusting. The smell of rotting flesh is just, I hate it. Also, grass lawns. Like, Americans' obsession with grass lawns is so harsh, and definitely in the summer is when the grass grows nice and green. We personally don't water our yard, though we do have a grass lawn, but if it turns brown like it inevitably will in August, let me tell you, when it gets hot here, even the grass can't survive. But the obsession with wasting water on watering grass lawns and adding all these chemical fertilizers and all these other inputs that are not good for when they run off into our water systems and pollute our oceans, eutrophication. I also have a video about that. I'll link it up here. Grass lawns are a huge reason we have eutrophication in the Gulf, because we're putting all of these fertilizers and chemicals on our lawns, and it washes off, and you know where it ends up? In the Gulf. For sure, the picture-perfect American day is the white picket fence with the grass lawn grilling burgers. And that is just completely counterintuitive when we talk about a sustainable living or sustainable society. Those things don't mesh. And if you can avoid wasting water and nutrients and all those sort of things on your lawn, I highly would recommend doing so in the name of sustainability. Also, festivals are a huge thing that happen in summer, and a big thing for festivals is glitter. I've talked about this a lot. I think you might have heard me talk about it. If you didn't already know, glitter is literally a microplastic, which means it can slip through a lot of different filters. Microplastics are a huge problem, and I actually have a deep dive on them coming out probably next week, so if you're not subscribed, make sure you stay tuned for that. But glitter is something that I would skip out on. Don't wear it to festivals, don't wear it in general. Avoid glitter, especially that's made of plastic, at all costs. Also water balloons, like this came across my feed the other day, water balloon fights, and the person literally said, you're gonna wanna buy a bunch because they go quickly. Or you could just buy none. Obviously, filling plastic or latex with water and then using it for like a couple seconds is not a sustainable thing to be doing, so avoiding water balloons and those pool floats that go in the pool that literally always get a hole in them and no one ever repairs. The art of repair is lost, especially when it comes to pool floats. Pool floats are a great time to use the saying quality over quantity, to buy something that is high quality and going to last you several summers, even if it's a blow up float, as opposed to the really, really cheap ones that are going to make you have to buy a new one every year, right? Personally, for me, I like the ones that are foam and a little bit thicker, that don't have any chance of popping and that are comfortable as well. And all the pool floats that are trendy, like the unicorns and the pineapples and all those sort of things, if they're quality, I think that's great, but buying a new one every year because it keeps popping, not a sustainable thing to be doing. And also expensive. Like, sustainability gets a bad rap for being expensive, but like, why doesn't consumer culture get that same bad rep for being expensive? Like all these shitty cheap pool floats that are trending and they're not working for you the next season, isn't that expensive instead of like not buying something or buying one thing that's quality and lasts you many years? I don't know. Anyway, those are some of the things I think you should not be buying this summer. If you have anything to add to this list, please leave it in the comments, and let's give another huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Like I said, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform, so you can look to them to build an online store, website, or even just if you need to purchase a domain. Squarespace makes setting up a website super easy because you don't need to learn coding. They already have some beautiful templates over there that you can customize to be exactly what you're looking for. Squarespace makes it easy to connect your social media and to also take advantage of their blogging tools. You can do email campaigns through Squarespace because it is an all-in-one platform, like I mentioned. With their 24-hour customer service and traffic insight tools, it makes it the easiest way to build a website on the internet today. So when you're ready to launch, head over to squarespace.com/Shelbizleee for 10% off of your first purchase.